Local breaking news right now. At least one person is hurt in a car rollover earlier this morning. The crash happened at 32nd Avenue East and Veterans Boulevard in West Fargo, and it was just after 4 o'clock this morning.
Someone was actually trapped inside the vehicle. Firefighters had to use extrication equipment to cut that person out of the vehicle. There's no word yet on the extent of injuries or what led up to that rollover. A Fargo bar and restaurant that's been at odds with the city appears to have a buyer for its liquor license. It comes after months of debate over the future of the Africa nightclub.
After suspending the club's license, Fargo City Commissioners made the decision on September 20th to give them 30 days to find a new buyer. They did. Tyler Brandt of 518 Properties submitted an application to purchase the license. He isn't talking with us, but City Commissioner Dave Pepcorn tells us the plan is to keep the theme the same and leave the nightclub in the same location. The Liquor Control Board will review that application next week.
The fate of a former West Fargo teacher, Ron Thompson, could be in the hands of a jury today. The 59-year-old is accused of luring a child on the internet, someone who he thought was a 14-year-old girl. Thompson is accused of asking her sexually explicit questions and sending a picture of himself. Court documents say this all happened in October of 2019 while Thompson was teaching in the West Fargo School District. If convicted, he could face 10 years in prison.
An FDA panel of experts will consider Moderna's request for emergency authorization of its booster shot today. Then tomorrow they will look at Johnson & Johnson's application.
Earlier this week, the FDA released data showing J&J's booster shot does bolster antibodies.
It is now 6:53 on this Thursday morning. Let's get a check of your forecast, and you'll notice that breeze when you step out the door this morning, Lisa.
Yeah, that's going to be one of our constants today. Even though the storm system has mainly moved on, we're still feeling its impact. So wind, clouds, even some showers out there. And this is our view at the Dakota Magic Casino in Hankinson. You could see the flags just whipping in the wind, standing straight here pretty much this morning with gusts that have been getting quite high into the 30s at times just to start off the day today. The wind has switched to the west, by the way, now that we're seeing this system moving on. So here's a look at our current conditions. Temperatures this morning starting off not too bad for this time of year. We're in the 40s and 50s. Fargo's at 47 with overcast skies. We've got some low-hanging clouds in Fargo and in Grand Forks at 50 degrees. We've got a shower being reported at the airport in Thief River Falls. Bemidji overcast at 47, and in Fergus Falls we are at 45. Devil's Lake checking in with a shower as well at 44 degrees. So the rain's still hanging around. So let's take a look at that radar. Mostly it's pretty quiet here. We're looking at relatively quiet conditions here compared to yesterday morning with just some spotty showers making their way through. There may be some mist too, not necessarily showing up or detected on the radar as well. And you could see that Grand Forks has just had a shower, and again Thief River Falls, that's moving through along Highway 59 and then back down into places like Norman County right now. So again, these are moving west to east at this point because of the way the storm system has moved. So we're talking about that chance for some showers, but there's also the wind that's going to be a problem through the day today. So this morning we've seen gusts into the 30s. That will likely continue, that westerly wind, even into the afternoon. We could see a gust of 40 miles per hour. Heading into this evening, it's still going to be windy, but I think that we'll start to see that wind relax a little bit, especially as we head into the nighttime hours for tonight. But even for that evening drive, you may be stuck with some wind out of the west, especially driving on those north-south roads. You're going to have to hold on to that steering wheel at times. So this morning, there is a chance for some spotty showers out at the bus stop. I'd send the kids out with not only an extra layer, but also a rain jacket just in case. Most places, though, checking in pretty quiet as far as precipitation is concerned. And then 50 degrees by this afternoon, and that's it. So we really don't see our temperatures change much today. First alert weather day for Saturday, because we're looking at, after the system moves on, clearing happening, and we'll end up with some areas of frost, widespread frost potentially on Saturday. So we'll have to watch out for that as temperatures get into the 30s.
Okay, big changes temperature-wise. We'll get used to it. Thank you, Lisa.
Police in Dilworth want your help finding a stolen vehicle, and the pizza delivery guy, well, he wants his work car back too. Around 5:30 last night, someone took a 2008 red Dodge Avenger while the owner was delivering pizza for Domino's.
It was last seen in Moorhead with the Domino's sign still on the roof of the vehicle. That vehicle has Minnesota plates, MCX 728. The suspect is described as a man of Middle Eastern descent. He was wearing a gray hoodie and red tennis shoes. He's also wanted in connection with a burglary that happened earlier in the day. A convicted sex offender is back in jail after police say he walked into two North Fargo homes armed with a gun. The houses were just a couple of blocks from each other in the 1500 block of 10th and 12th Streets North. Police say they got the first call around 4:30 yesterday morning and were able to identify the guy.
They worked with the suspect's probation officers and pinpointed his location to someone's backyard. That was using his GPS ankle monitor. 35-year-old Daniel Grinder was arrested for criminal trespassing and being a felon in possession of a firearm. He is a registered sex offender. Court documents say he raped several children as young as 13 and 14 years old. President Joe Biden has announced steps to speed up the movement of goods into the country and the transporting of them to store shelves. Many large and small businesses have reported empty store shelves blamed on problems at some of the nation's ports, worker shortages, and COVID outbreaks.
In the port of Los Angeles, cargo ships have long waits before the vessels can dock and be unloaded. The president says LA and Long Beach, two of the nation's busiest ports, will be operating around the clock. 2 people are hurt after a fiery car crash in Garland, Texas, and the rescue of one of the victims was caught on police body cameras. Check this out. Officers got the call about that accident around 3 in the morning, right in front of the police department. One person was thrown from the vehicle, and the vehicle immediately caught fire.
Then police saw an unconscious person still inside that car. Body cam video captures the officer fighting through the intense heat while the fire overtook that vehicle. Officers pulled the unconscious man out of the burning car. You hear the screaming in this video just seconds before it became fully engulfed.
Wildlife rescuers in California are celebrating a win as they start releasing some rehabbed birds back into the wild. The birds were among dozens found covered in oil after that big pipeline spill in Orange County earlier this month.
The Oiled Wildlife Care Network at UC Davis says it found more than 80 birds and fish affected by the spill. More than half of them died. Yesterday, they were able to release ducks and other wildlife. They have been working 14-hour days caring for those animals so they can see more days like the ones when they release them back into the water. In our consumer alert this morning, Tuffy's Pet Food is recalling about 1,600 cases of dog food that was distributed across the country. It's the 12.5-ounce Pure Vita salmon entree dog food in a Tetra Pak carton.
The company is concerned about possible elevated levels of vitamin D, which can cause health problems in dogs. Tuffy's says they have not received any reports of adverse health effects, but that the recall is still out of an abundance of caution.
Valley News Live is teaming up with Gigi's Playhouse today for a final fundraising push. All week we've shared stories about the major impact the Playhouse is making on families in the region.
Gigi's is the state's only Down Syndrome Achievement Center, and because of the fire, they've had to cut programming in half. They don't get any government funding, and the programs are free to the families. To find a way to donate, just search Gigi's on your VNL News app.
Let's get the answer now to our question of the morning on Facebook. That question, 2% of people admit doing this with their pet.
The answer, well, it makes sense. Read them a book because they're your child.
Yeah.
Okay, it's
nighttime story. Yeah, a little bit. Thanks for playing along. The Today Show and CBS This Morning are just about to start. The Valley Today continues right now on the CBS.